Here's something your annual checkup probably never mentioned. That creatinine number tucked into nearly every blood panel isn't just another figure on a lab report. It's one of the most direct signals your doctor has into how efficiently your kidneys are doing their job. And for a surprising number of people, that number keeps climbing for reasons that have little to do with getting older and a lot to do with what they're drinking every day. When people think about protecting their kidneys, they usually think about food first: sodium, protein, potassium. Almost no one pays attention to what's in their glass. Yet some of the most ordinary drinks found in kitchens, gym bags, and office fridges may be putting slow, steady stress on kidney function, sip after sip. Tonight, we're covering 5 everyday beverages that could be gradually driving your creatinine higher than normal, including one marketed as a healthy choice, which tends to catch even the most careful people off guard. Before we dive in, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss videos like this one, and let me know in the comments which of these 5 you drink the most. I read through every comment. Stick around for the 5th one. It's the one that fools the most well-informed viewers. What your creatinine number is really telling you. I'm Dr. William. With over 15 years practicing internal medicine, I want to take a couple of minutes to explain what this number actually measures, because it reframes everything else we'll cover. Creatinine forms naturally when your muscles break down creatine for energy. Healthy kidneys filter that byproduct out of your blood and send it out of the body through urine. When kidney function is under strain, creatinine doesn't clear as efficiently and starts to build up in the bloodstream, which is exactly why it's used as a go-to marker for how well your kidneys are filtering. A creatinine number ticking upward doesn't automatically mean disease is present. It can point to dehydration, higher muscle mass, certain supplements, or kidneys working harder than they should. But when the trend keeps rising over months or years with no clear cause, it's worth taking a closer look at what you're drinking day to day. None of the 5 drinks on this list are unusual or rare. They're staples in ordinary routines everywhere. Let's break them down one at a time. Drink number 1, regular sugary soft drinks. First on the list is also the most widely consumed, and its link to kidney stress is now well documented. A can of regular soda delivers a rapid sugar load with almost no nutritional benefit, and that combination sets off a cascade that eventually reaches the kidneys. Habitual soda drinking is strongly tied to weight gain, higher blood sugar, and elevated blood pressure, the 3 leading contributors to chronic kidney disease. Kidney health organizations have specifically called out sugar-sweetened beverages as worth monitoring, since the sugar load fuels metabolic stress and low-level inflammation that accumulates over years. What most people overlook is that soda typically doesn't harm kidneys directly or immediately. Instead, it works in the background, quietly creating the same conditions: diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, that are the primary drivers behind declining kidney function and rising creatinine over time. What to do? If soda is part of your daily routine, shifting it to an occasional treat instead of a habit is one of the most impactful changes available. Sparkling water with a splash of citrus makes a solid substitute without the metabolic cost. Drink number 2. Energy drinks. Second on the list is a category that surged in popularity, especially among people pushing through long days, and it may hit kidneys harder than most realize. Energy drinks often pack heavy caffeine doses alongside added sugar, artificial sweeteners, and stimulant blends, all in one can. That mix drives up both blood pressure and heart rate at the same time, forcing kidneys to filter blood under added cardiovascular pressure. Clinical case reports have linked frequent, heavy energy drink use to acute kidney injury in some individuals, especially when paired with dehydration or intense physical activity. Nephrology experts have flagged concerns specifically around habitual intake beyond 1 or 2 cans daily. For someone already dealing with borderline kidney function, that extra cardiovascular and metabolic burden is exactly the type of daily stress that can push creatinine gradually upward. What to do? Treat energy drinks as an occasional boost, not a daily crutch. If you depend on them for energy, gradually cutting caffeine while improving sleep tends to fix the root issue more sustainably. Drink number 3, alcohol, even in regular, moderate amounts. The third drink barely needs an introduction, but its effect on kidneys is more misunderstood than people assume. Alcohol acts as a diuretic. It increases urine output and can dehydrate you more than the volume you drank would suggest. Dehydration is one of the most common and most overlooked causes of temporary creatinine spikes. Beyond dehydration, regular heavier drinking is linked to elevated blood pressure and added strain on the liver, an organ that works closely with the kidneys to clear toxins from the blood. When the liver is overloaded, the kidneys often end up compensating, adding to their workload over time. This isn't about an occasional glass of wine with dinner. It's about the gap between occasional and habitual and how that gap quietly shows up in lab results months or years later. What to do? Alternating alcoholic drinks with water and staying within recommended moderate limits meaningfully cuts down the dehydration and blood pressure burden alcohol places on kidney function. Drink number 4. Sports drinks and electrolyte beverages. Fourth on the list surprises people because it's marketed around hydration and performance, the opposite of what you'd expect for a kidney concern. But many sports and electrolyte drinks are loaded with sodium and sometimes sugar, formulated for athletes enduring hours of intense, sweat-heavy training. For the average person, sipping one casually after a light workout, or simply because it tastes better than water, that sodium and sugar load isn't balanced out by the level of exertion it was designed for. Excess sodium is a well-known contributor to higher blood pressure and increased kidney stone risk, both of which add pressure to kidney filtration over time. The irony is that most people reaching for a sports drink aren't doing the extended, high-sweat activity that would actually call for that extra sodium and sugar. Plain water covers the hydration needs of most everyday workouts just fine. What to do? Save electrolyte drinks for genuinely intense, extended exercise, an hour or more of heavy sweating, rather than a routine habit after a casual walk or gym session. Water should remain your everyday default. Drink number 5. The one sold as a health drink. This is the one worth waiting for, and it throws off even health-conscious viewers. Protein shakes and creatine-based supplement drinks. Here's the twist that sets this one apart from the other 4. Creatine, the compound in these shakes, is broken down by the body into creatinine, the very substance measured on your blood test. So someone taking a daily creatine or high-protein shake can get blood work back showing elevated creatinine, and it can look identical to declining kidney function, even when the kidneys are functioning perfectly. Research reviews on creatine supplementation, including a systematic review and meta-analysis in the medical literature, have found that elevated creatinine tied to creatine intake reflects predictable metabolism of the compound, not kidney damage. And multiple studies tracking actual kidney filtration markers found no meaningful impairment in healthy adults using standard doses. But here's the real catch. That same rise in creatinine, harmless in a healthy person taking creatine, can also mask a genuine early kidney issue, because the number alone can't tell you whether the supplement or the kidneys are behind the increase. Very high daily protein intake from shakes, separate from creatine, adds its own filtration workload, since kidneys must process and clear the nitrogen byproducts of that protein. For someone with already reduced kidney function, that added protein load matters more than it would for someone with healthy kidneys. What to do? If you use creatine or protein shakes regularly, tell your doctor before any blood panel so an elevated creatinine reading gets interpreted correctly instead of being mistaken for kidney decline. If you have a known kidney condition, check with your doctor before starting or continuing creatine or high-protein supplementation. The bigger picture. None of these 5 drinks are guaranteed to damage a healthy person's kidneys on their own. The real risk comes from frequency and combination: a daily soda, a nightly drink, a post-workout sports drink, and a protein shake can quietly stack on top of each other in ways no single one would, each adding its own small dose of metabolic or filtration strain. The encouraging part is that this is one of the most controllable pieces of kidney health. Unlike genetics or age, what goes into your cup is a daily choice, and small consistent swaps compound in the right direction just as easily as they compound in the wrong one. When to call your doctor. If your creatinine has been trending upward across recent blood panels, don't try to interpret it on your own. A single creatinine number without context, your hydration level, muscle mass, supplement use, and overall filtration rate, or eGFR, can mislead in either direction. A basic metabolic panel covering creatinine, eGFR, and electrolytes gives your doctor the full picture needed to determine whether a rising number reflects a real kidney concern or something more benign, like dehydration or supplement use. If you're over 60, take a daily creatine or high-dose protein supplement, or regularly drink any of these 5 beverages. It's worth asking your doctor to check kidney function at your next visit rather than waiting for a symptom to prompt it. A patient's story. Let me share the story of David, 54, an active gym-goer who came in concerned after his annual physical showed creatinine slightly above the standard range. He'd been taking a daily creatine supplement and drinking a protein shake after every workout for years, and the number understandably worried him. We reviewed his full picture together. His eGFR was normal, his blood pressure was well controlled, and no other markers suggested reduced kidney function. Once we factored in his substantial muscle mass and daily creatine use, it became clear his creatinine reading was a predictable result of his supplement routine and muscle metabolism, not a sign of kidney decline. What we did change was his energy drink habit. 2 a day, most days, a habit he'd picked up years earlier without ever questioning it. Over the following months, he cut that down to occasional use and swapped his afternoon soda for sparkling water. At his next check, his blood pressure had improved modestly, and his overall metabolic markers looked healthier, even though his creatinine, tied to his ongoing creatine use, stayed essentially unchanged. The number that originally worried him turned out to be the least important thing to change. The habits quietly sitting underneath it were the real opportunity. Everything covered here is educational information based on published research and guidance from recognized kidney health organizations, not personalized medical advice. No one should stop or start a supplement or make major dietary changes without talking to their own doctor first, especially if you have an existing kidney condition, take medications affected by hydration or blood pressure, or have specific fluid guidance from your care team. Your action plan: sugary sodas. Shift to occasional rather than daily. Swap in sparkling or citrus-infused water. Energy drinks. Limit to occasional use. Address the underlying fatigue or sleep issue instead. Alcohol. Alternate with water and stay within recommended moderate limits. Sports and electrolyte drinks. Save for genuinely intense, prolonged exercise. Use plain water otherwise. Protein and creatine shakes. Fine to continue if healthy and appropriate for your goals, but tell your doctor before any blood panel so your creatinine reading is read in the right context. Start by identifying which 1 or 2 of these 5 show up most in your routine and make one small swap this week instead of trying to overhaul everything at once. What's next? If one of these 5 caught you off guard, tell me which one in the comments. I read every single one. If you want more research-backed content like this, hit subscribe. New videos come out every week covering what the science actually says about kidney health and healthy aging after 60. I'm Dr. William, and I'll see you in the next one.